Hey guys, Joe Neal here, the guy who taught Jetstream Sam how to double jump. And I'm back again, still looking a little homeless, but that's alright, because I'm just here to recap this violent symphony that was UFC 275. Just a violent symphony of blood and beauty. Oh, it's beautiful. So without further ado, let's just get to the fights, because this main event was Glover Teixeira versus Jiri Prochazka. I'm going to try not to cuss a whole lot during this. I'm going to do my best to avoid, getting soap thrown in my mouth. Because holy hell, this was a wild fight. Coming into this match, very interesting matchups. On paper at least. Kind of an interesting idea because both fighters made the other one look like a glass cannon based on their skill sets. Glover has very big power, and Jiri's very hittable. Jiri's also a very good striker offensively, and we've seen Glover get knocked out by Glover Teixeira, or Alexander Gustafsson, and Anthony Johnson. And Glover also has a very good top game though, with a very good arm triangle. And when I've seen people talk about Jiri's ground game from Ryzen and stuff like that, the word underwhelming comes up a lot. And the few fights I've seen from Ryzen, it hasn't been great. He's been taken down pretty easily, it seems like. So this could be kind of a fight where we know what's going to happen 3 minutes in, right? No, not at all. Went to the last round. It was awesome. Just amazing. So out the gate, Glover is able to get top position pretty easily with two massive, single leg trips. Had the leg high up, kick the leg out. It was awesome. Big ground and pound. Could have stopped it a couple times. Well, I'm not saying the ref should have, but it was pretty good. He's definitely looking to end the fight with these ground and pound shots that he's landed. Jiri's surviving though. And in the end of the round, Jiri manages to get top position and land some big bombs of his own with 30 seconds. It was pretty nuts. 30 more seconds and Jiri could realistically, if he kept the same pace up, obviously this is hypothetical, so who knows, but have gotten the finish. So, it was both guys nearly ending it pretty quickly. Okay, second round. Jiri's dominating the striking, landing some great shots, hurting and rocking Teixeira at multiple points. Then he goes for a flying knee, and this anti-air hook combination comes out from Teixeira that plummets Jiri on his back. And from top position, Teixeira is able to land some big elbows that cut the left, above the left eye. And it's just a lot of blood. So now both guys are bleeding because the nose of Teixeira is broken, and he's bleeding from his nose and his mouth a little bit. And Jiri's got this massive cut. Okay, third round. Let's see. But at this point, if you're watching the fight, there's kind of a game plan, I think, that seems very simple. For Jiri, don't throw knees. And the reason is, every time he does, he's getting taken down. Glover's just catching him, taking him down. But Jiri's an entertainer. He's really entertaining, and flying knees are very entertaining. So, of course, he throws one again, gets taken down. And before that, what's awesome about it, though, is Jiri was dominating the striking again. And he landed a right hook to the body that was so audibly loud that it made my entire living room just go... It was gross. It was awesome. And on top position, Glover's landing some great ground and pound with just Jiri surviving once again. And notice, I'm just talking about this fight. I can see myself. I'm ear to ear. That's how good this fight is. It's so good. Fourth round, more of the same. Sweat, blood, testosterone, swinging from both guys, just flying all over the place. Fantastic. Both guys are gassing out. It's just but they're, almost just pure heart and instinct in this at this point. Zero quit in either guy. They're just laying it on the line. And these championship rounds seem to have no mental effect for Jiri. Because in the fourth round, even Jiri escapes a scary arm triangle. He just kind of almost magically just kind of slips out. It was awesome. It was insane. In the fifth round, because I want to get to this round. Fifth round, once again, another wild roller coaster of emotions. Jiri lands some big shots. He's starting, taking over the striking, but he's a little gassed. Suddenly, this cinder block of a right hand lands flush. And Jiri is... I'm going to go ahead and say it. He was unconscious on his feet. Out. He was out. And then Glover takes him down. Potentially some rough IQ that might have cost him the fight, as he's starting to kind of wear him down, taking him down with some shots. And I think he woke Jiri up with these punches. Like, I'm still serious. I think he was out. And he manages to kind of slip out and take backside control of Glover. And so when he's on the backside control of Teixeira, he's just kind of throwing some shots. But time's dwindling down. He's probably down on the scorecards. And he just goes for like this rear naked bulldog hybrid choke. Like, he had, like, you know, everything in, just kind of tightened up. But he didn't have any hooks in. He stayed in backside control. So my mind, that's kind of like a bulldog choke. At first I was like, what is it? Is this Devin Clark, Jan Blachowicz? But no, it seemed like more like a bulldog choke to me, like, looking back at it. And Teixeira taps. Wow. I jumped out of my seat, shouting expletives, just in crazy excitement. Every round, both guys at least once nearly finished the other. And it's probably recency bias because it just happened, but this is what I'm picking for my favorite fight this year. I'd have to like go back and think of what else was this year. This like seems like the clear contender for me. So I'm kind of curious what everybody else thinks. So put in the comments what you think this fight of the year so far has been. It's a good halfway point of the year too. So, you know, what's your half awards or whatever? I'm really curious to see that, you know. Valentina Shevchenko versus Talia Santos. Awful judging, I think, here. This is an opinion piece. There's an opinion, but I try to be professional, so I'm going to try and be professional. And I'm kind of struggling to justify 3 rounds for Shevchenko. So round 1, Shevchenko's taken down and has her back taken and is controlled for the remainder of the round. She does nothing of note. Okay? So it's a Santos round, right? Okay, we're getting the ball going. Round 2, Shev doesn't get her back taken. So that's something, I guess. But Talia Santos just controls her from top position the entire time. Cool, 2. Right? Round 3, Santos gets her down once again, has her back, nearly gets a couple of chokes and neck cranks. Okay. 3 rounds up. Okay, so round 4, Santos, or actually in round 3, Santos did get her eye swollen up because like when she has her back and she's like trying not to get choked, Valentina's just like kind of throwing like shots backwards, and they did keep landing on the same spot, you know, with some little bit of pop, not like hard pop, but you know, and it did start to swell the eye up. So, okay, so there is some damage visibly, but like we really only really saw it in round 4, like at the beginning of it. I don't think you're allowed to go back and change that. Even then, does that mean anything? No, it doesn't. So round 4, Valentina wins the striking. She doesn't get taken down. She just kind of dominates the striking. As the like eye damage is bad. She did land a bunch of cheeky nodders though. One very blatant, one very incidental. You know, anyone knows what a cheeky nodder is? Jack Slack, shout out. But yeah, it's you duck your head in as your taller opponent, typically a taller opponent, ducks in. So they're are just gonna ram your head into your head that's down. There's no rules. There's rules against headbutting, but how do you say that's intentional? It's kind of a good little loophole. So she won 3-1. Okay, cool, sure. Round 5, she pushes the pace. Well, at least compared to her normal pace. And she actually wins this round, like in the striking. So she won the last 2. She won rounds 4 and 5. Okay, so. This is more. I don't know. I don't know. I can kind of understand 48-47, like 2 judges gave it, because that means they just didn't pay attention and they just kind of picked the random name. Sure, whatever. But 49-46, that's horrendous. I don't understand. And if anyone like uses like I don't know. I don't know what everyone's opinion is. I'm trying to be cool about it because we all have our own opinions. But I've seen the concept of to beat the champ, you gotta. To be the champ, you gotta beat the champ. That's ridiculous. That was made up in the 90s by boxing managers of fighters to defend corrupt decisions that favor their fighters, usually the champions, obviously. That's a made up. That isn't in the judging criteria. There's nothing in the rule books. or the judging criteria that doesn't, that says that. Weili Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I hope I got that name. It's been like 20 years. It's been like 10 years. It feels like I should have got it by now. This fight, I actually said, I was like, I don't think it's going to live up to the hype. It did. I was wrong for once. And the big thing that was like the difference maker in this fight, though, was Zhang has fought twice since their last meeting, while Joanna hasn't fought at all. So Zhang has actually gotten a lot better. And just in between the Rose fights, she got a lot better. So add another fight camp on top of that. Come on. You know, like, it was just she just kind of pulled away. But both ladies were throwing some heavy heat at each other. It was fantastic, just high pace. And the finish came courtesy of Weili Zhang missing and Joanna sidestepping it, a lead leg sidekick to the body that she was landing. She was starting to land in the second round. So Joanna adjusts and sidesteps it. And then a spinning back fist lands and face plants her. Awesome. It's so awesome. Crazy knockout. Knockout of the year contender for sure. I'm very sure that's probably going to be a contender for it. And after the fight, Joanna called it into her career, and it's a career that should be remembered, I think, for one of, if not the absolute best at strawweight. Tons of great fights and just a fantastic career. I personally wish you the best of luck in whatever you choose to do. So you go, you know. And Weili Zhang lobbied for a title shot at the end of this. So there's a lot of contenders in this division. Strawweight's awesome. It's the best female division, I think, no question. And it's kind of hard for me to justify. It doesn't hit the ears right. You know, I say that a lot. It isn't hitting the ears right. So it's kind of hard for me to justify that in my head mentally, just to say, all right, yeah, go fight Esparza now. Especially when she's 1-2. And listen, I get it. I also think she got robbed in the second Rose fight. But she's 1-2 officially, you know. So it just, I don't know. Something about it just isn't hitting the ears right. So, I mean, we got to see what's going on with that division. And next, Jake Matthews takes on Andre Fiallo. So Fiallo, he had a big hype train, or pretty good sized hype train coming into this. And Jake Matthews just threw that train off the tracks. So great boxing from both guys. And Matthews was doing some like really interesting things off like the counter, kind of switching stances up a little bit, trying to give the most awkward object for Fiallo to try and break down defensively, or like break down offensively for him. And then he also was very smart leads, because he would notice when Fiallo is loading up on this huge check left hook. And in the second round, Matthews rocks him, has Fiallo's backed up against the cage, surviving, taking some big shots. Great chins from both guys, honestly. And because both guys were getting caught. And then just a straight right coming down as Fiallo's going for an uppercut, and it's over. I figured this had wrapped up fight of the night whenever it happened. Great stuff. And then finally, we have Jack Della Maddalena versus Ramazan Emeev. Jack Della Maddalena had a ton of hype coming into this fight. Supremely technical boxer with a jab that I personally have fallen in love with over these past few weeks, seeing it pop up in Twitter clips. And Emeev's known for being a grindy and frankly boring fighter. So this could be a potential end to the hype. You know, a guy who's going to grind out this very exciting and technical striker. We see it happen all the time. So, just not at all. Maddalena has an amazing escape from a Darce choke and just knees him immediately as they're both rising to the feet. It was fantastic. The boxing clinic showed up after, and a great flurry with some vicious liver shots. Just shut that whole body down. A fantastic showcase from a white-hot prospect, I think. I think this guy's got a lot of promise behind him. And but that's it for me. Be sure to check me out next week, as I will cover Kattar versus Emmett. And, you know, there is something else if you do really miss me. On the main channel, I do have the retro review, the second one with me. And if you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend you check it out. And if you have watched it already, well, how about you go watch that again for me? Please. Please, I need this. Anyways, I'm Joe, and that's all I have for now. Thank you for watching.